So this is a late video I'm doing showing how to nest different quantities of different products um, within the same nest, and then applying a tool template so that you can take the same tooling operations and apply them to each of the 25 or 23 sheets that we're going to cut of this product. So this customer in Atlanta had a DWG, an AutoCAD file sent to him, and so we're going to pick it up from the desktop, do the work, and then apply and save a template so that we can just pull that up and say, I want to apply these tooling operations to these lines based on the layer names that came in with, um, and off we go. So you'll see I'm using version 10.5, although 11 is out now. I'm doing this because my customer was still using that version. I want it to be instructional for them. So we're setting up a job with a 48 by 96 the material was, but I'm just going to put it 375 and we'll tell it OK. Now I'm going to open up his DWG file. So I'm going to go to the desktop and import vectors. And this was his drawing file, and it comes in right there. Now I'm going to use my arrow keys and just nudge it down out of the way, because when I nest it, it's going to, with the quantities given of these, it's going to build the nest stack of sheets up in this area. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Now, there's two lines of text under each of these parts that we're going to cut. One line is the part number, and the next line is the quantity. Now I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to stop recording, but I'm going to zoom in and take the part numbers out. So this is just a rather generic drawing. So I'm going to pause the recording now. Okay, so I just zoomed in and took the top line out. So now we have quantities of each of the different products underneath them. So if we look, we have different quantities of each of the different parts. So I'm going to go through each of these and tag them within the nesting function here. To describe these parts, this is a part that's cut out. So this will be a border cut outside the line, and these circles are holes that are cut. And I'm going to just cut them. I'm going to pocket them all the way through and dust them so that he had a problem with them. If he just cut a border cut, sometimes they were slinging them loose off of his table, and he's got multiple machines there. But we're going to dust them. We're going to just eat this away. I'm going to leave 1 inch around the outside edge of my panel. I'm going to have 1 inch between parts. I'm going to tighten that down to 0.75. Rotate the parts, that's fine. 90 degrees, 45, doesn't matter. We can get whatever we want out of it. I won't be mirroring, and I won't put parts inside of parts. I'm just going to do a simple set. So now we're going to say on this part, I want 80. And apply it, and you'll see it marks it with 80 there. And then when I go here, I want 52 and apply. And then when I select that part again, it's going to show my quantities. So 52. So I'm going to do 20 and then 32. 20, apply. 32, apply. 16, apply. 4, apply. 8, apply. 4, apply. 44, apply. 4, apply. 4, apply. And the last one is 12. So if we look at each of these, I can see the numbers. I'm just, again, checking to make sure I have grabbed them all. I'm just watching to make sure the numbers are showing up there. Okay, so we're great. So at that point, we're ready to nest. So I can tell it what to do. So I'm going to capture anything that I've applied the quantities in. You see the quantities, and I'm just holding down the shift key and using the left button to grab a box around them. I've got them all there, so I'll just tell it to preview it. I should be good. It goes ahead and does the nesting, and there's 25 sheets. So I'm going to accept that. That's based on the sizes and shapes. It looks good. I'm not sure what the material is that they were cutting, but it does not have grain, so this rotation will work fine. And then we're going to go do the machining. And so we're going to switch over to this, and we're going to set the tool paths up. And what happened is when this came in with the DWG, these are the different layers that came in. And really all we care about is the borders. So I'm going to turn off the text and the dimensions and the centers and viewports. You know, again, I don't need any of this. The parts that are going to be interesting to us would just be the holes and the border. So when we do a toolpath, I'm going to say to do a pocketing operation. For the circles, I'm going to cut those first, and I'm going to pocket them all the way out. So I'm going to say thickness plus 0.020 equal. And what tool am I going to use? I'm going to remove that and select. Okay, so I'm going to select a tool. I'm going to use a this is an insert tool that I use for surfacing. It's just pretty aggressive. It's 19 millimeters in size, and I'm going to select that. I've got to look at my passes. Something's odd in my setup, but I'll just set it to 1, and I'm going to plunge it in over the course of 1 inch, and that's going to be it. Now typically that's it. We would have selected the vectors that we wanted to use there and there, you know, holding down the shift key and capture everything we want. But I'm not going to do it that way. I'm not going to manually select. I'm going to use an automatic selector by border. So I'm going to by one of the ones that I want to have turned on. So that's going to be my holes. So anything that comes in on that layer called holes, it's going to do. So it's going to be closed vectors, it could be open vectors, but it's going to be closed vectors, so that are the circles. And here's what we want to have. We want to kick this on, associate with the toolpath, so that I can use this and save this as a template. And I can call this spacer, because these are spacers. So I can call this spacer template. And so we'll let it go, and that close it. And that's pocket the holes by layer. And again, I would put 19 millimeter insert tool. So it warns us we're going 20 thousandths deeper, and that's okay. And there's our work. And then I'm going to also want to do the border cut. And I'm going to do the thickness plus 0.020 equal. And I'll use a regular 1/4 inch end mill. Again, this is not a real dense material. I'm just going to do it in one pass. And it is outside the border. We're not going to do a finishing pass. I'm not going to add tabs to this. I'm going to use a down spiral, which will pack the swarf or the debris into the cut line, and these parts will stay there with that. I'm going to ramp it in over a distance of 1 inch. I don't need to do a circular lead in or anything. These are parts that are going to be not visual. I'm trying not to give a whole lot of information about the parts and the products that these guys are cutting, but these are not going to be, you know, something that's going to be seen by everybody. So I'm going to just do a regular ramp in and ramp out, and again I'm going to select it, and in this case it's going to be the border cuts associate with it, and then close it. And I'll probably call this profile cutout with a 0.25 down spiral. And calculate. It warns us, and it does the work. So that's the order. We want to have these in the order that we want to use as well, because I want to do the circles first, the holes, and then I'll do the profile cut. And then I want to save this as a template. So this would let me load a toolpath template that I've already saved. This would let me save the selected toolpath as a template, and that's what I want to do. But I want to save not just this one, but I want to save all of it. So I want to save all the visible toolpaths, which is both tools, as a template. That's this one. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to dump it to the desktop, and I'm just going to call it spacer template. And that's it. So now I'm going to back out. I'm going to delete these. And I'm going to do my tooling, and I'm going to load from the desktop spacer template. Would I like to apply that template to all the sheets? And I do. And it warns me, and it goes through and warns me on each of the different panels. So I'm clicking through. Huh. Interesting. Huh. That's interesting. I did this on my laptop, but I was on a newer version, and I wanted to do it on the version that they have. On my screen, I'm not able to get down to that. If I drop, I can't get to the OK button on the bottom. I can only lift it up. It's because of the resolution of this large monitor that I'm using. But I'll just hit OK, and that'll be enter. And OK here, and then it's going to pop it up. I can't see it, but OK is my warning. And there we are. So now we have all of them done, and I can turn off the toolpaths and then look at any one in particular, and that's that nest ready to go. Or turn those off and look at the next sheet, sheet 23, and there we are. So then when we save this, I'll turn off all, turn everything on, and I'm going to save the toolpaths. And again, this is just a representation of all these different 23 panels on top of each other. But when I save the tools, I can't put them all together in one file because they're two different tools. So that makes sense. That's not going to change. So I'm going to close this. Turn off the tool pass, and I'm going to say and just go through them one after the other. So I'm going to say sheet 1. First I'm going to pocket it. I'll create a little folder. I'll create a new folder just to put it here, and I'll call this spacer job. And I'm going to go to the front. I'm going to say sheet 1, and then I'm going to back up and highlight that and Control C to copy it because I'm going to be pasting this in. So I'm going to save that. And I'm going to go back up to the top. And save that. And go to the beginning and paste it. And close it. Sheet 2. And save it. Go to the beginning and paste it. And then change it to sheet 2. Back to the top. To the beginning, Control V, paste it. 2. And save it. Go through all the sheets. Now, if I was in production mode, I'd send the sheet 1 to the machine, and while it's working, I'd finish doing sheet 3. Save it. Ah. And so this is kind of painful and slow, but it makes it really easy to go through rather than having to grab each of the different operations. And this way it's nice and lined up on the console. When you bring that folder over, you have sheet 1, 2, and again we're pocketing first. I could have numbered these in advance. I could say sheet 1, tool 1, first tool, and then sheet 1, second tool, oh, that'd be this 2. So that makes a little more sense. Again, it just depends on how you're set up with the guys in the back, whether you're the one doing the cutting and the designing, or whether you're using, different people for different operations in the plant. Oh, Control Z. So clean and easy. So we'll go through all the different sheets, and there you are. So that's applying the template, and that's really strong because it's so simple. And if we were to look at this, reset the preview and preview visible, there's my holes. And that was sheet 3, I think. So So there is applying a template to, and the same process works when you bring in parts. If you layer them and name them in SketchUp or in a cabinet making program or things like that, when the parts come in, if they're named with layers, they come in named shelf holes, and it automatically we apply a 5mm drill or door hardware to pocket out the operation for the hinge cup. So that makes it really simple to use VCarve or in this type of manner. Again, this is using 10.5 and version 11's out, but I wanted to use the same version as what my customer had. So that's how you do the tool templates. Makes it real quick to add repetitive type operations to a job that you're going to have come in that has a lot of layers designating different parts or different operations. So I'm Eric Schiller with YetiSmartBench.com. Happy to help you with all your sales and service and training needs for the Yeti SmartBench and the Vectric product line. Thanks for watching.